For you to achieve anything in life, you need to set yourself goals. Set that goal. That goal, for it to be a proper goal, should have timelines. Set timelines. Put together an action plan. Know exactly what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve it. At this age that I am now, I still do vision board. I know that some people don't believe in those things, but I promise you, put that vision board up, take out magazines, cut out pictures of exactly what you want to achieve. If you want to see yourself one day owning a house, cut that house and put it up. If you want to see yourself achieving a degree from whichever university, cut pictures of that university, put it up. So the more you see your dreams, the more you see your goals and have actions and follow them through, you will definitely achieve them. My name is Londiwe Myeza, I think known as Londi. But now my nieces are calling me Nane, and that has just become my nickname because I'm the youngest of 7 siblings. I come from Nongoma, rural of KwaZulu-Natal, northern side. I identify myself as a child of God. I believe that all that I have and all that I am is in line with His purpose for my life. So I'm a mother, I am a communication specialist. I always say to people that I don't work because what I do is who I am. I get to impact people every single day, whether at work or outside work. So all my gifts, my passion and heart for people, I pour it in everything that I touch and do every single day. So yeah, so that's where my identity is. I come from a deep rural area, but I think for me fortunately I grew up in a family where my parents always found themselves in the right places. So I'll explain why I say that. Both of them were not educated, but they both worked for institutions. My mother worked for a boarding school in Nongoma, of which it was a better school in the area at that time. So at the time when it was my turn to go to high school, she was able to raise money and to take me to boarding school, even though I did not stay in the boarding facility, but I stayed with her. So in a way, she was saving, but I was in the right environment because she was working at the school. And then my father worked for University of Zululand. He was one of the maintenance guys there, and he had worked his whole life. And one of the benefits that as employees they received from the university was that their kids would study for free. So because of that, my father was always clear that one day all of his children will come to University of Zululand. So the language was always there at home, that you would go to this route and eventually you will go to university, and it really turned out that way. So when it comes to communication, so growing up, I loved reading magazines. I think my favorites at the time in terms of the editors was Kanye, Lomo, it was Kuli Roberts. I always knew them already then. And my sister saw that. So when I went to university, she was like, no, you have to take communications. I know how much you love reading, I know how much you love writing, so this would be good for you. And then I took on communications, and it did work out. So I have a degree in honors degree in communication science. So at the entry level, you needed to have exemption. You needed to have passed on the exemption, of which now it's called bachelor in metric. And then during the first 3 years, we focused a lot on the journalism, English, public relations, and communication. Yeah, communication science obviously at different levels. And then at the honors level, there was a lot of web developing and again, public relations and journalism. So that's what it covers. During my time in varsity, I think my biggest challenge was losing my mother and my father. So that sort of distracted me a bit, because there was a time that I was just seeking healing from all sort of things and moving my focus from school. I enjoyed my degree, I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed the whole lot of notes that we needed to do, the exams and everything, but just those 3 years were not that easy in terms of my personal life. And I'm bringing that forward because most young people, when they're at varsity, they are faced with many challenges. Sometimes it impacts on their studies. And when you think that they're struggling with the degree as such, and basically there's other issues that needs to be addressed. So I'm bringing that forward. So that was the only challenge. But thank God, found eventually a couple of friends who understood me, who understood who I was, who were just there for me, and we supported each other. And then we moved forward, and I managed to finish. My first job was a peer counselor at University of Zululand. That came when I realized that I wasn't getting any employment opportunities outside the university. Then I thought, instead of going to Nongoma, maybe I might as well continue with my honors. But for me to continue with my honors degree, I needed to find myself some employment, get some sort of experience. Opportunity came. Our career guidance center was looking for peer counselors, and then I took that opportunity. So that was my first time of getting work exposure and work experience. After that, I finished my honors, and then I think I stayed at home for about 8 months. That was like the longest I have ever been unemployed my entire life. I found a marketing assistant position with Scorpion Legal Protection. Then when I got the job, it had nothing to do with marketing. It was literally administration work, and then you did not need any degree. They needed somebody with grade 12. It was a whole lot of data capturing. I was in that job for 3 years. It was hard, it was the worst time ever, but I needed that. It kept me moving. So from that position, I also got another administration position with Public Protector. When I was with Public Protector, then a nice opportunity came of being an outreach facilitator, but in Mpumalanga. Because I had stayed for this long waiting for something in line with communication, I took the chance. I went all the way to Nelspruit. It had its own challenges. It was now far. I had to rent. It meant being on my own, far from my family and my responsibilities. Obviously, my kids were in Durban and I was on my own in Nelspruit. That on its own took a toll on me. I started looking even more. And then my first break was with Sasol, where I got a job as a communications officer. I was with Sasol for 3 years, only looked after their safety, health and environment communication. Even with that, after 3 years, I realized that I'm not getting as much exposure as I want in the space of communication. There's a whole lot in the communication space. There's events, there is internal communications, there's publications, there's external communication in the world of social media now. So I was never allowed, or we never allowed to touch any of those areas. We were only employed to look after safety. So then I started looking again. When SAPREP gave me an opportunity, it was an opportunity that opened me to every aspect of communication and even led me to corporate social investment, of which was something that I didn't even know about. And that corporate social investment is the one that has really led me now to my passion, to what I do as well on the side. I found that working with people and making tangible impact and a difference was my passion. And SAPREP gave me that. So yeah. I am a communications specialist at SAPREP, and my role is to keep the lines of communication open. is to create platforms of engagement, right? How do you keep platforms of engagement open for everyone? Is to make sure that whoever is at SAPREF is aligned with what SAPREF is trying to do, whether you are driving internal communication or whether you're driving external communication. So every single day, my role as a communications specialist is to make sure that employees on site understand what management is trying to do, and also try and feedback to management what employees are saying. So we do that by creating different platforms and using different mediums. So fortunately for us, we in the world of technology, so we use a lot of emails to communicate, we use blogs, we use publications, we obviously write a lot, send out messages through written communication, verbal communication. And then I also make sure as well that SAPREF is well represented even in the community. So my involvement in community liaison and in corporate social investment allows for people in the community to have some sort of access of who SAPREF is, what SAPREF does, and how they can also benefit from SAPREF. So my role as a communications specialist is to keep the lines of communication open in whichever form, in whichever way. If it means I have to put together a family day event and gather our employees with their spouses, with their children, so that they can come to SAPREF and understand SAPREF, I will do exactly that. If it means I have to put together some nice year-end event so that our employees feel appreciated, recognized, but at the same time we're able to push messages, I do exactly that. If it means setting up a social media page that will allow SAPREF to promote who SAPREF is, promote our employees, I will do exactly that. So you use different mediums to keep the lines of communication open. In the next coming years, I see myself as a consultant. I see myself as a communications and corporate social investment CSI consultant. I think I've done a lot. I've gained enough experience to offer my services to different companies and not be contracted to one company. And secondly, for me, it breaks my heart to see the level, the number of unemployment, especially for our graduates. I believe I can also now create employment. My moving to consultation will allow me that opportunity, would allow me the entrepreneurship opportunity. On the other side, I'd like to see a situation where young people have a place where they can volunteer. So that's why I've set up, myself and my friends have set up Ikusaselihle, a non-profit organization that provide career development, career guidance, mentoring, and just inspiring young people to pursue professional careers. So I'd like to see myself as an employer. I'd like to create employment. I want to see myself as an entrepreneur. I want to see myself just taking over that space of social entrepreneurship. Yeah. I believe that my purpose is to make a difference in other people's lives. Being at SAPREF allowed or unleashed that potential. So 2016, Ikusaselihle was born. It's a non-profit organization that provides career guidance. So what we do is we come together as a group of professionals and we go to communities, especially to the disadvantaged schools, and we expose kids to different careers by sharing our own personal journeys. So with the hope of inspiring them and showing them that you can overcome, that we have gone through what you guys are going through. Yes, they may be going through the worst or the most, but we've also gone through things. But none of those things hindered our progress or our development. So the intention of Ikusaselihle is to inspire young people to pursue professional careers, to find their purpose, to pursue their passion and what they are called to do, and expose them to as many opportunities as possible.